the world can be falling apart, and I'm just like, it's okay. It's everything's gonna be okay.
All right, everyone. Welcome to back to Visions to Ventures. I'm your host Javier. Like I mentioned before, and I'll keep mentioning again, we have so many great guests coming in to share their story and what they do. So it's my pleasure to introduce Gina with Soft Play SLC. Did I get that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Gina, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, also say what you do for your business, and this is your time.
Oh, well, thank you again for having me. I am Gina. I am the owner of Soft Play SLC. It's a ball pit and a luxury ball pit and soft play party rental service. It is essentially for I started I started off usually was during the COVID season, where kind of children couldn't go out and play, and it was essentially one of those added services where you can go on your phone and order food, or you can go on your phone and order anything, but there wasn't a service for children. So um, that's how that came out to be. It can be for birthday parties, it can be for play dates. It's just whatever you kind of want, where you want to entertain younger children.
Okay, and I also wanted to bring up too. You also were and this is not one of the questions, but you also been on this like a morning show, right? To kind
Yes,
of
I was featured on um, what's the Good Times Utah.
good. Okay.
Yeah, and it was for that here in Utah. They kind of reached out to me and wanted to kind of promote and show what I was doing, because it was so new for the host, and kind of it's essentially still new here in Utah. It's not as common.
Okay.
So
And
yeah.
yeah, and the reason I brought that up because it's like kind of shows like how innovative it is, to kind of bring that here to Utah and for it to be noticed by a morning show. So I just wanted to bring that up before I was to forget later on.
Yes.
Um, so during COVID, how was it like? You started during COVID, and was it kind of a bit of a difficulty with how like with you having to make sure everything's very clean, and just how was that for you or for your business?
So I do have a background in early education. My degree is in early education, and I worked in childcare. So
Oh,
before the pandemic happened, I was already used to, thoroughly cleaning things for children and all of that stuff, because I did work at a childcare center. But during COVID, it kind of just got amped up a little bit more.
yeah.
The cleaning kind of tripled, sanitizing everything, ensuring that children didn't pass on germs along, which is really hard, especially at a younger age. So I had experience in that sense, where when I started this business during the pandemic time, I kind of already knew that that was a focal point that a lot of people wanted, ensuring that they didn't get contaminated with COVID during the use of my equipment and stuff like that. So thankfully I had that experience already. So it wasn't as hard to implement those little health and safety aspects to it. It was just the whole starting the business up from ground zero, which I think was the hardest part for me.
Yes. And as soon as you said early education, I'm like, you know what? That's it. You don't have to go further because I
Yeah.
already, you're like, but I did see on the show, going back to referencing that show, you did, looks like you created, was it like a slide or was that something that you created on your own? Is the whole ball pit experience just something that you created? Like,
It's not a brand new idea per se, but again, my background is in early education and working in childcare. I I'm a true believer in children learning through play. And I am a true believer that children should be able to explore hands on and be able to move around without being essentially caged up, in the playpen, or and a little bouncer. I have that knowledge. So when I was kind of scrolling through Instagram one day, I always had this thought in my head like, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a business owner. I want to, do something for me. And I kind of popped up in an Instagram page where I saw a setup which was designed for a child care center. But I was like, why can't I take that and bring it to people out here? Because I don't see a lot of people here in Utah, especially where childcare is kind of expensive, and they don't have access to those opportunities for the children to crawl on. They don't have these big mobile playgrounds for children. So that's where that concept and idea started. Like I said before, I didn't start off in the party rental business per se.
Mhm.
It was more like I want children to be exposed, especially the younger ones, to be exposed to grow those muscle,
Mm.
their physical muscle stuff, and without having to go to the park or without having to sign up to a gym membership every month. Like, it's able to come to your home. I can set it up, and from there I come back and just clean it up, and the child has that experience.
I really like how you said that. It's more about the experience for the the children, and making it affordable, making it accessible by delivering, and setting it up. So I think that shows that the kind of business owner that you are, as far as trying to not do it just for yourself, but of course, right? Everyone's, some people want to be business owners, but you bringing that idea and making it happen for the reason of having putting a smile, I guess, you can say, in the kids,
Yeah.
children's face. So yeah, that's pretty awesome. um what are some like lessons you learned in the way, that you that other entrepreneurs can benefit from?
um, I think one thing that I've learned is to create friends and not competition among other people. I think once I started this idea here in Utah, I was the second person to kind of deliver some similar business. And then, kind of right after me, other businesses kind of opened up doing the similar, like kind of a similar thing. But I think what I've learned along the way is just to not view them as competition per se. Of course, we're all in it to make money, and to kind of hopefully live off of it as an income. But at the same time, I feel like creating relationships with these other people, and essentially just like making a friendship and be like, hey, me and you, we're either doing the same thing or practically the same thing. There's so much um, business to go around here, in Utah.
Mhm.
And, just communicating to ensure that we help each other. Because if one person is priced a certain, amount, and the other person is priced way below that, like, it just kind of hurts the competition overall.
Mhm.
And nobody wants that. Essentially, everybody will tend to lose. So I
Yeah.
think having that clear communication relationship with other people has helped not only myself or and them too. It's just everybody. I think it helps the business overall, and kind of how to, I guess, exemplify more of where we can do better. Sometimes I would see this other business, I'm like, hey, you're doing such a phenomenal job, like, I feel like your worth is this much. Or, hey, I need advice, like,
Mm.
what do you suggest? And it's just great to kind of have that, um those friendships per se.
Yes. And what as I'm noticing, this season going around, it's more of like, I can say it, with event planners, parties, and what I noticed is that now everyone's kind of connected in a way.
Yeah.
Like, if I see your page, I see, oh, I'm following this person, or this person's following them, and I'm like, but then I also see that in the bigger picture, it's like hosting events that everyone can uh showcase their business, and everyone be successful. So I really
Yes.
like that side, that if I wouldn't be doing this, I wouldn't have seen that. I would be like, oh, it's just Gina, with the ball pit, or it's this person with um flower organizer or whatever it might be, but now it's seeing everyone's connected and just trying to share ideas and grow together.
I agree. Yes.
Um, so how long have you been in business? Yeah, I said, sorry, I just,
So no, you're fine. So I opened up initially in 2021, again, like
Mhm,
during the midst of the pandemic. I think being first generation Mexican American made it a little bit more challenging because I don't have parents that, you know, went to business school or knew
mhm,
how to open up their own business. And all that legality stuff I had to learn by myself. I had to learn how to apply for a license. I had to learn how to, search for insurance, how to promote, how to market. All that was just a first time experience for me, which I am not like unfamiliar with that. That's totally been my life since I was young. I've had to learn things for the first time because I just didn't have parents who knew. So I think doing that was really hard in the beginning, but essentially, as I got the hang of it, and again, I kind of go back to those relationships with the other vendors, like, hey, can you explain to me how this works? Can you tell me like where can I get this kind of help? It's great to have that community.
yeah. And I know you you mentioned before, like, during COVID, and so I apologize about asking, but um the going back and looking at, kind of doing it from, you can say, scratch to figuring out everything down the way, do you feel like is that something that kind of you want with that community that you have, is someone that's starting new, kind of putting
Hmm.
them up to the level where you're currently at, not as far as like your business, right, but it's like knowledge wise, is that something that you feel is very helpful for someone who's starting off?
I think so. I feel like, in a sense, you don't want to provide everything to everybody, I guess. When I started, I reached out to other businesses, kind of like what they do compared to what I was trying to do in other states, and they would give you kind of a wishy-washy answer. But that drive that I had inside me kind of kicked in. I was like, you know what? It's okay. Like, people work hard for that information. People work hard to learn, where the manufacturers are or where to find, X, Y, and Z. So I had to put, me puse las pilas, if
Yeah.
that saying goes, where, you know, it- where can I find this? Let me see. And then essentially I just started, looking around on the internet, looking around on Instagram and kind of putting pieces together. I wish, I guess, there was a way where when I was new to it, I had some kind of resource to go to. But I'm thankful for the experience because if it wasn't for the experience, I don't think I would still be here because I feel like a lot of people think, this party planning service is so easy. You just deliver things, you just pick it up and easy money. But there's
Mhm.
so much that goes into it. There's so much like, searching for the right vendor that you want to work with, search with the right manufacturer, like what kind of quality of equipment do you want to provide, what kind of quality service you want to provide, what, demographic are you trying to provide to. Um, all those, all that information just came hands on by, struggling per se.
Yeah. Wow. Going into like, it's interesting, right? Because you can't just be like, well, I'm gonna, for myself, I guess, I'm gonna start a ball pit business. But now it's like, oh, there's so much into it. There's all this like logistics and how you said it, demographics. It's not just like, oh, I'm gonna start it and just, throw it out there and see where it lands. And I
Yeah.
think it's listening to stories like like yours, and all the entrepreneurs. It's like you got to find that niche and you got to make sure you put all that work in, right? And I like that it's the stories. It's like, I started from like zero information, but like you said before, right? Me puse las pilas and I had to figure it out, and I figured it out. So,
Yeah.
how does for you with I know you post on social media. how important is social media for you and your business since like you when you first started off till now?
I think it's extremely, extremely important. It has, again, the first year, I really didn't know anything. I didn't know how to market things. I didn't know, the best way to like tell people about it. I knew social media was going to be key because we live in this social media world
Yeah.
where, we learn everything through Google, through Yelp, through other platforms. So I knew social media was going to be important. I didn't know how much importance it was going to play until I want to say the past year, where especially this year going into 2023, that's when I started posting more, doing more reels, doing more TikToks, and that has driven more traffic to my page. That has given, I feel like, if you're I think it's 50-50. Half of my customers come from people who, told them by word, hey,
Mhm.
I use Soft Play SLC for my birthday party, for my kid's birthday party. Like, you should totally check them out. And a lot of, half of my clients do come from word of mouth. But my other half just came from social media and they said, it looks so cute. The setup was so cute. This is what I want for my party. And they booked me from there. So I feel like social media does play a huge, huge importance in my business when it comes to attracting those clients. It's
Yeah.
hard. It's hard because you have to be on social media all the time. And, I think you have to learn how to set yourself a boundary too, because if not, I'm just on there all day creating things, searching for content, like searching for inspirations. It's a lot.
Yeah, and I noticed, and I think most recently you posted a oh my gosh, a poll, correct? Was it a poll that
Oh,
to kind
yes,
of
I
see?
did.
So, and I think it's also I like that because you're connecting with the followers who follow you, but it's also growing, that idea from your business to just not the softly, but other, I guess bringing the whole experience, right? So you'll provide the ball pit to other, the services of the table, so that you're taking less in things for the parents to be doing or thinking about when you can provide that yourself. So I really wanted to
Yeah.
say I kind of see that, and like you said, it's like being on there but trying to figure out, oh my gosh, like what am I gonna like say, what am I gonna put, and then just doing it. So just wanted to say
No,
I
and I think
noticed.
it's thank you. I feel like sometimes I think I'm reaching to a point where like what I'm doing is going great, but also my clients are so extremely happy with the service that I provide that they want that same service with the other parts of, coming that comes with party planning, which is, the backdrops, the balloons, the tables, the decoration. And I feel like if clients are asking me that all the time, hey, do you provide this? And I'm like, well, I kind of don't. I only do
Mhm,
ball pits and soft play. It makes you like think as a business owner, can I provide this? Like,
mhm,
should I provide this? If my clients are asking for it, maybe it's because they want that to come from me.
yeah,
And again, those are other things you have to take into consideration, which I don't. Before I wouldn't know how to take it and like how much it will cost to put into invest in these items and how much profit and how much to charge. But now it's become a little bit easier to do that. So yeah, hopefully I will be able to add more items to my inventory.
no, I like that. It's reinvesting in your business and thinking about what, like, um making that customers and your clients experience more, um easier and just better for them, in a way. So
Yeah.
anyways. um what motivates you to stay focused and determined, especially during those tough times for your business?
Um, I'm a I guess my personality is very laid back. I'm very chill. Like the world can be falling apart and I'm just like, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. And I don't dwell too much on, the negative things or what's not happening or what should be happening. I feel like life really has a way, or partakes you know away in my life, because when I started this year, I started off being booked back to back. It was like January, February, March was my birthday month, and it was during a time that was a little bit stressful, and I was like, okay, I kind of really don't want to promote too much this month because I need the month off. And weirdly enough, like, I had the whole month off, and it was
No.
refreshing. It was I was like, okay, I'm ready to go back to it. And then, April, June, July, I've been booked back to back again. And I feel like part of it is that I don't expect or dwell too much on the business that I don't get. Like, again, again with the other vendors, I'm happy when they're booked. I'm happy when I show my support, that, maybe this weekend I wasn't booked, but they were, like, congrats, you guys.
Mm.
I give in that positive energy, and I know, like, somehow the universe will take care of me. So I don't know. I feel like that helps me out a lot. I kind of don't dwell too much on it. I just let it be. And if it happens, it happens. This weekend, I have 3 events. And this past 2 weekends, I didn't have any events. I've been chill. But this weekend, I have 3. So I just take it week by week. I don't dwell too much on it.
I like that. It's and it's good to, like, for your own personal, right? Like, I know there's some, I usually don't ask those type of questions, but like it's good to know that there's business owners who do uh prioritize also their personal health, like
Hmm.
that break, and knowing that there's someone like you who doesn't really, it's like, you know what, yes, I'll take a break, but it's not really gonna affect me in a way where, like, oh my gosh, I need to, like, work two to three, 4 times harder next time because I taken that break. You're just like, it's gonna come, and it shows, right? Because you're supporting your fellow vendors, that they're like, okay, now it's time for me to work, start again, and it works out. So I like that.
Yeah, no, it really does. And again, I feel like the more, especially with social media, you get a lot of pressure of, like, oh man, this other vendor, did this cute setup, and I need pictures and I need to catch up, like a sense of always having to prove or show something. And I'm just like, well, I haven't posted in almost a month and I'm still getting clients. So I don't put too much pressure on me that way. I feel like a balance, work life balance is very important to me.
Yeah, it's the word. I was like, I was trying to find that word. I'm like, you know what? And I like that too, because, like, for me personally, like, when I started, like, the podcast, it would be, oh my gosh, I need to get, like, a guest. I need to get, guests. And eventually I was like, I need to have that month of break, because it's like a lot of, it's not just, I'm gonna, meet with someone and then post it. There's editing that goes behind
Hmm.
it. There's the reels, the YouTube shorts, the TikToks, and I'm evolving as I'm going. So I'm learning, and from not just, like, from every business owner, and so it's kind of like knowing, okay, I'm doing it right by taking that break and refocusing and starting, again. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, uh, so what was, with we mentioned collaboration, well, we mentioned, like, with other vendors, but with networking, is that something like that when you first started off? Is that something that you benefited from, or is it just more of, like, you really didn't do that much of a networking in the beginning?
I don't think I did. And again, as being first generation, like, networking, what? Like,
Yeah.
what's that word, My parents didn't network. They just didn't know. Or if they did, they'd be like, oh, that fulana knows, como sobar. But, like, that's about it. Like, there wasn't more to that. There wasn't, like, I know this person who can help you out in this, they're a business owner, or they work in this area that can help you in this aspect. Like, networking was not a thing for me. And I think when I first started, it was, I think I just literally relied on social media and just, like, the world doing its thing, because I initially just didn't know what I was doing. But as I started getting clients, I started, I love developing relationships. I love, meeting new people. And as I met new people throughout this process, I've met what's how would I put it? Like very important people that can help me in my personal life.
Mhm.
So in that sense, I was able to network with them in order to enhance my personal life or, other aspects, maybe even my business life, but that aspect of networking, I guess, kind of didn't help so much with my business, but personally, yes.
Yeah. You're like, oh, that's what networking. No.
Yeah.
And honestly, I started kind of more asking those questions, with the episodes because I'm like, I also didn't really know what networking was. And now it's like, I'm okay, that's part of for me that I have to do so I can meet new people and also get them to share their story. So, but I like how you said it, like networking with. Oh my gosh. I know we also mentioned we talked about this, but besides, like you mentioned, are you excited for any future projects that are coming or that you might be having down the line that there might be top secret as of now, but you're looking forward for it?
Well, I am looking forward to adding new inventory to my business. I did recently get a 10 feet round ball pit. So right now I do have one of the largest ball pit in Utah. So that has been currently I am involved with this wedding planner who
Hmm.
is creating a style shoot. She was very excited to see my ball pit. She was very excited about this new concept. And she was like, you know what? I want to take pictures with models with your ball pit. And I want like it to be a bride and a groom, And I was like, you know what? That's great because that's kind of where I kind of want to enter to. That my next step is enter the wedding world where why not have a ball pit at your wedding? Why not
Yeah.
have this, cool, attractive thing where it can be aesthetically pleasing, take your pictures as bride and groom, and then during reception time, like what a great place for the kids to be entertained. And I'm very excited for that. And then I just have couple other projects with that same round ball pits coming up, just kind of to follow up with the theme, Halloween and Christmas and stuff like that. But essentially, I do want to kind of work my way into like corporate events where the ball pit can be such a great addition to just bigger events where families are invited, and again to be it's an attraction for the kids. And
Yeah.
I feel like half of the time people don't know what to provide for kids to keep them entertained. And my my answer to everything is just a ball pit. Just throw a
Yeah.
ball pit in there and kids will be entertained for hours.
Yeah, and which is good to kind of consider like the wedding because usually what I mean not that I know or but hearing is like usually for weddings they tell some groom and bride tell them not to bring any children's because they
Mm-hmm.
don't want it, but having that where the parent who wants to tan now it's okay, now there's just going to be this provided, bring your kids, have them but yeah, so that's pretty interesting, and it's good to know like how it's evolving and how you're trying to get into not just like the like a party, but weddings and then eventually the corporate world where it's good to see that having that available for parents as well, those working parents who are there
Yeah.
and are forced to go to a party, at their wedding.
Yes.
Um, what's oh my gosh, I just had it. Is there like a key to success that you feel like you want to share, like, that has helped you be where you're currently at in the moment?
I think not to be fearful. Like fear helps you in a lot of ways. It keeps you safe. It keeps you, it kind of gives you that judgment of like, okay, let me stop and think before I do this. But fear can also be such, can hold you back a lot when it comes to starting a business and exploring the idea. I think you go through stages in the beginning where you're like almost in the honeymoon stage where you're like, oh my gosh, like this is so cool. Like I can do it, and I can do this and that. And then you hit this like fearful stage of like, but what if it doesn't work? But what if, this and what if that? And like, am I a failure? Like, I don't know all these things. Fear can hold you back a lot. And I feel like fear held me back for a bit. But I'm such a like not fearful person either. Since I was little, I was very adventurous. I was very like, you know what? Screw this, I'm gonna do it. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Oh well, but at least I did it. And I think the first purchase was very hard. It was a big amount for me. For me, it was just a huge amount. And to like make that purchase, I was like, you know what? The worst thing that can happen is that it just does not work. And I already know that if it doesn't work, what can I do? I can just sell my stuff and I am okay. Like I'll get my money back in that sense. So just being fearful is okay to an extent, but don't let it stop you. And the worst that can really happen is just like, it did not happen. It did not work. You tried your best. Okay. How can we not change the goal per se, but how are we going to change your approach to reach that? So I think that would be my biggest advice.
Okay. Do you think with fear, is it like also the fear of being critiqued, or is that the word I'm looking at? But you know what I'm saying? Like seeing, I guess, like family members or friends, or even just, I guess mostly, right? Like where you like, oh my gosh, like having that fear. Now they're gonna judge me because they told me this wasn't gonna work out. But like also use that to motivate you to become successful in a way.
I think so too, because like putting the amount of money that such a large amount of money, I essentially didn't tell anybody in the beginning, again, just because if I failed by myself. No one's going to
Yeah.
know. I'll keep it to myself and that's it. But essentially, once I kind of, did my big purchase and bought everything that I wanted, I started to tell friends because that's the way it kind of got promoted, was through my friends. And I guess it was a little easier for me because it was such a new concept out here that they were just like, oh, that's such a great idea. Like, I've never heard of that. And, it's stuff like that. And I was like, okay, maybe I can do it because it's just so new. But then being so new also was very fearful because, again, if it's new for a reason, it's because nobody wants it or nobody
Yeah.
wants to do it. So both ways, it just kind of happened. But thankfully, I didn't feel like I was scared to hear critique, but I was more fearful for myself. Like, what if I just lose out on this money? But then I kind of talked to myself again. Well, you're not going to lose it because you're just going to sell your stuff, get it back, and then move on with your life.
Yeah, like nothing happened.
Yeah, like nothing ever happened.
You're like, what ball pit? But
Yeah.
it's great that that you took that, because now you're here, and it's good to hear your story, and it's like, si se puede, like you made it happen, so motivating.
Yeah.
And it's and also what I want to share is I love having these type of stories, and because this is like said to some people, this is like a digital diary, right? It's on there. Eventually, as my daughter gets older, and I'm like, yo, this is what I one venture that I started. But look at these people's stories that were on here. Look at all these guests, and like take some a bit from everyone and
Yeah.
do something with it. So,
No,
and
it's great. It's a great resource for,
yeah. And now you are that entrepreneur in your family, right? You are that kind of like, okay, Gina is in a way like, I say is you break a cycle where there's no entrepreneurs in your family, to showcase like, hey, it's possible, it's doable, look at me, and how can I help you? So
I think there's also like the difference of like a will and a person who just like, if you have the will, you can do it. If you're just like, I want to make extra money, but I kind of don't want to go do the work for it, you're not going to last long with that. I think, again, being such at a young age, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I always wanted to be a business owner. And I was like, well, I'll open up my own nail salon, even though I don't know how to do nails, or
Yeah.
I'll open up a mechanic shop, even though I just don't know how to do mechanics. I just wanted to be a business owner.
Yeah.
And thankfully, I'm at that point where I am.
Hmm.
And now my kids look up to me. They're like, Mommy, I'm so proud of you. Like, it's so fun to see you get ready for your events. And I bring them
Oh,
along with me. They help me clean my, my equipment. They help me. They're like, what theme is it this week? And I'm like, oh, we're doing the Barbie theme this week. And it's just excited to have them involved because I didn't have that growing up. I didn't see my
yeah.
parents doing that. And they've always, worked for other people
Hmm.
or stuff like that. And which is totally fine. But I didn't have those resources, I guess. And I think if I did, at a very younger age, I think I would have started my own business.
Yeah. That's cute, and I like that having them involved. Aw.
Yeah.
I know. I have my daughter. I'm like, here, like, look at me edit this video. Right now, she's like, I don't want that. I
That's
don't
so
care.
boring.
I know. It's like, hey, look. But yeah, I guess it's not the same. But there's other stuff, projects that I'm like, oh, maybe I can get her involved. And so, anywho, just bring that up. Is what advice would give to entrepreneurs starting off, that just to feel their passion, and it can be separate from like what we talked about before, but just what type of advice would you give them?
I think really, and I think it was hard too for me because everyone's like, find your niche, find what you're good at, or find what you're passionate about. And it's like, but how do you find that? How do you know that? And I feel like I think when I started, I thought about, well, what am I good at? What do I really enjoy doing? Um, and thankfully, I had a job where I did love and I did enjoy doing, which was working at a childcare center and, moving up from a teacher to administrator. The whole thing I really enjoyed. And essentially what it just came down to is like my background's in early education. I love to work in childcare. I love the younger ones. I love the 18-month-old, 2-year-old age. How can I do something where I can be around them? Obviously, like not all day per se, but be
Yeah.
around them and provide a service for them. Um, what can I do? And I
Yeah.
feel like once I narrowed that down, I was able to then say, okay, ball pit and soft play. And now that I really look into it, I'm like, okay, I really do enjoy what I'm doing now. How can I expand that later on in life? And I have a couple ideas later on, like I want to say like 3, 4, 5 years down the line, but something that is geared towards younger children too.
Mm.
And so I would say just like find your like very cliche, find your niche,
Yeah.
but really kind of work towards that. Really work towards what you're good at. If you're good at working with people, which I'm very good at doing, I love working with people. I love developing new relationships. This was another um, positive thing that came out from creating this business was that I was able to meet new people. I was able to meet these clients and learn and essentially become friends with a lot of them down the road and just kind of get to know them and say, hey, thank you for booking us. Thank you for supporting a small business. Like, what do you do in life? Or, just getting to know them. So just really figuring out like what you like to do, what you're very good at doing, and then just kind of go from there.
Okay. I love that, and thanks for sharing that, and hopefully those viewers and listeners can take that and and take that and run with it. So I appreciate it,
Yeah.
Gina. So where can this is the time where you post, you share kind of where people can find you, website, social media, and then any last things that you want to add. So this is again your time to share.
So we do have Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, and all usernames are just SoftPlaySLC. We do have a website, which is www.softplayslc.com, where you can see all the packages and prices that we offer. Um, think something that I think very passionate about too is supporting the everyday mom. I feel like as a mom myself, you always want to provide your child with the best. And I've been in situations where I don't have the money or income, to provide this, luxurious party for my child. And sometimes I do get those inquiries where, I really want you at my child's party. And, I gave up paying for a balloon vendor so I can have, more money in my budget to provide,
Mm.
to book you in a sense. And, those moms I feel for. And, you know, sometimes I'm like, okay, your budget is this much and this is what you're wanting. And you know what, I'll upgrade you to the next package and, for free, because I feel it. I get it. Like I've been
Mm.
there, and I think doing those little things kind of, you know, you you put in positivity into the world will give it to you back. And I don't
Yeah.
expect anything back. I just, expect, just people doing kindness. And
Mm.
I think that's my way of partaking in that, is just supporting those everyday parents
Mhm.
that are trying to support my business. And, if I'm able to give back a little, I will.
Oh, I love that. And it speaks for itself and it shows, and the belief in like what you put out there, the kindness and doing it selflessly shows. And all I can say is uh hope and nothing but the best for your business, that it continues to grow and it continues to evolve. And it's just great hearing your story. So thanks again, Gina. I really appreciate it. Um, is there anything else that you want to share?
No, I think that is pretty much everything. I would like to say again, thank you for having me on here. It was great, kind of telling everybody about my business. And it's never too late to be a business owner, I guess.
Mm.
You're never too young or you're never too old to start your business. And if you started with very good intentions, I guess life will know. And it would just keep on rolling. Just really have good intentions with it. And again, like I mentioned before, obviously you want to make a living out of it. You want
Mhm.
to make money out of it. But if you started off with just the mentality of, I just want this for money, and not no other purpose of like the service that I provide, I want it to be the best for people, or I want to make them happy, with my services. I don't think you will get too far in life, but I think if you start off and say, I'm gonna price it this way, I want to make it affordable for everybody, or, this is how much I want to price in order for me to profit. Um, but I want to provide the best service with,
Mhm.
X, Y, and Z, and just kind of go from there. I think life will have your back and support you.
I appreciate it. Well, thanks again for your time, and I want to again thank the viewers and listeners for their support as well. This is possible because just having that support. So thank you everyone for this for Gina here, and I'll be posting here shortly, and looking forward. So thank you, Gina.
Thank you.